There are so many incredible oversights from Herpa Wings. For example, we've never had an A319 or A320 in the standard livery of Turkish Airlines, and I could be tempted to say the same thing about the 737-800, except, of course, when we look here, we actually have one, even though it's in the previous standard livery. And with that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today will take a closer look at a Boeing 737-800 of Turkish Airlines. At the front of the box we have a cutout so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside, and underneath that we have the Turkish Airlines branding. Then on the backside of the box we find a lovely image of the aircraft in real life. We're provided with the original dimensions of the aircraft as well as some additional information, and we can see it is a limited edition. And before we get too far into today's review, it is worth mentioning that this aircraft model does come with a piece of cardboard with an apron position printed on. And here she is, the Boeing 737-800 of Turkish Airlines in their previous standard livery. This livery was rather short-lived and basically is a transition livery in a sense from the 1990s colors to the livery we know today as the standard livery. And while it is great to have this aircraft model, unfortunately it is so far the only 737-800 model of Turkish Airlines that we have gotten from Herpa Wings in scale 500, so of course we should take a closer look to see if it is actually worth getting today. So without further ado, let us start our tour around the aircraft model with a look at the tail section, where we on the vertical stabilizer have the Turkish Airlines branding, and that does very much look like the 1990s colors. That however is the only part of the livery that doesn't resemble the standard livery as we know it today. So when we look on the fuselage, we have the Turkish tulip, we have the aircraft type specification, as well as the full registration code of the aircraft. And when we look towards the very tail of the aircraft, we do also find a bit of detailing around the APU exhaust. Then at the front of the aircraft and across the fuselage, we have the writing of Turkish Airlines, and we do also find the Turkish flag, as Turkish Airlines is the flag carrier of Turkey. Of course, we also have a Star Alliance logo, of which the airline is a full member, and underneath the cockpit windows we have the name of the aircraft. That leads us to the cockpit section itself, which is rather bare-boned, unfortunately. The only detail we really have here are simply the cockpit windows. And that is undoubtedly a bit disappointing. Also, the shape of the mold isn't nearly as nice as with more current releases. Also, the engines do not overwhelm us with detailing. The engine nacelles have been kept in all white, just as most of the fuselage, but do have the silver leading edge printed on. However, that is all printed details we get. Also, the physical detailing could definitely be better, although this does resemble the standard from Herpa Wings at the time this model was released. Then on the fuselage, just above the wings, we have the emergency exits printed on, which leads us straight to the wings, which we should also take a closer look at. Starting over the top side, we can see the different flaps, slats and spoilers have been carved out, although that could definitely be more pronounced. Here we also find the full registration code of the aircraft printed on, which we also then find on the underside of the wings. The landing gear, I would say, is definitely the weakest part of this aircraft model. In my opinion, the main landing gear is suffering from over-dimensioned wheel sets. I think they do look a bit too big. Also, the front landing gear could look better. That we have also seen much better executed in more recent releases from Herpa Wings. And then last but not least, we do also have the doors to the cargo compartments printed on in the back of the aircraft, and also here at the front of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Boeing 737-800 in the previous standard livery of Turkish Airlines from Herpa Wings in scale 1 to 500. And what can we say about this aircraft model? Well, the aircraft model was made from Herpa Wings in 2009, and for that it really isn't that bad. But there is no doubt that this aircraft model cannot compete with any more recent 737s from Herpa Wings. In my opinion, it is a shame that Herpa hasn't given us a more recent release of a Turkish Airlines 737-800, especially considering that Herpa really has nailed down their mold for the 737-800 NG. But those are the facts. We just have to live with this, because this is the only option we have if we want to have the workhorse that is the 737-800 in the Turkish Airlines livery. Which is why, given that it is the only option we have, I would say it is worth having in one's collection. but really only because there are no other options. Except, of course, just making it as a custom model. Now with that, we have reached the end of today's video. If you have enjoyed this episode, then don't forget to leave a like, that would be very much appreciated. And of course, if you are new around here, why not hit subscribe, that would be absolutely awesome. With that, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching, hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.